The Office of the Prime Minister Press Office is the primary liaison between the Fourth Estate and the Office of the Prime Minister and Cabinet.
Every day, we are working to build a more inclusive economy and a stronger, safer country.
Hear all of the latest developments as the Davis administration carries out the broad mandate of progress and change. Our live weekly press briefings provide full access to current newsmakers on the most topical issues of the day. We facilitate prompt responses from cabinet ministers on the latest reports and get answers on the issues that matter to you.
Will any penalties be levied against the
OPM Press Now, keeping you in the know. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, members of the press, for being here. We'd also like to welcome those watching on television and online. Welcome to our weekly press briefing here at the Office of the Prime Minister. I'd like to start by wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas, just under 2 weeks or so in advance. And of course, one of the major ways we celebrate the holidays Bahamian style is with Junkanoo. Now, Junkanoo is something that's obviously evolved over the years. It's grown into a cultural festival with international appeal, and it stood the test of time with Bahamians remaining our major cultural form. Now, that evolution has meant from time to time that we have had a quarrel or two associated with the parade, which is not necessarily a bad thing. This year was one of those years, but we are very happy to announce today, along with stakeholders, that an agreement has been reached, and there will be an announcement today with positive vibes, reflecting the staging of the 2024 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade and 2025 New Year's Day Junkanoo Parades on Bay Street. We are joined this morning by the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Mario Bowleg, along with members of the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence, led by Chairman Mr. Dion Miller. I'd like to invite to the podium now the Minister Bowleg with the announcement on the staging of the upcoming Junkanoo parades. Minister Bowleg.
Good morning, everyone. I also too like to take this opportunity and wish all Bahamians a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year's, especially the people in the great constituency of Garden Hills. The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture and the National Junkanoo Committee, NJC, in collaboration with the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence Limited, the JCNP, is pleased to confirm that the 2024 Boxing Day and the 2025 New Year's Day parades will proceed as planned and managed by the JCNP. This announcement reaffirms the ministry's steadfast commitment to preserving our culture and recognizing the profound significance of Junkanoo to all Bahamians. Both the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture and the JCNP remains dedicated to safeguarding Junkanoo's rich and colorful tradition and will continue to promote its growth and development. The order of entry for participating groups, determined during the Nervous Saturday, drawn on December 7th, will continue to guide the parade's procession. The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, through its relevant government agencies, has the authority to register all Junkanoo groups, and as such, the Way Forward group is registered to participate in both upcoming parades. The JCNP has the responsibility for the accreditation of Junkanoo groups, their eligibility to participate for prize awards, and assigning them to their respective classes. In accordance with the rules of the JCNP, the Way Forward Junkanoo Group is recognized as a participant only and not a group for competition. As such, the Way Forward Junkanoo Group is eligible to participate as an uncompetitive group. In the interest of full transparency, the ministry wishes to clarify that to date, neither fraction of the Valley Boys has received any seed funding for participation in either parade. Junkanoo is more than a parade. It is the heartbeat of our Bahamian culture, a harmonious expression that resonates deeply and speaks to our shared identity. It is a celebration of unity, creativity, and heritage that holds a special place in the hearts of all Bahamians. The ministry encourages all stakeholders and enthusiasts to join us in celebrating these beloved cultural events as we continue to honor and preserve the legacy of Junkanoo for future generations to come. And with that being said, I would like to invite our partner in this parade, the JCNP Chair, Mr. Dion Miller, to bring a few remarks.
Good morning, Bahamas. Good morning to the Junkanoo community. As the minister has just stated, the JCNP and our government partners are in full agreement on how the parades will proceed. I want to advise the public that last night the executives of the JCNP would have met with the Way Forward Junkanoo organization and have begun that process of ensuring that they participate and their level of participation is just the same as our other registered groups. This year has been a difficult year due to the internal issue between both sides of the divide as it relates to the Valley Boys. And our focus now is on uniting and moving forward. It is our hope that beginning last night, we will start to see the level of misinformation cease, and we could all move on as a community. I want to thank our minister, the Minister Mario Boleg, who has been a strong supporter of Junkanoo groups throughout this entire process. There was never any separation between the ministry, the JCNP, and the Junkanoo groups. And so that's very clear for Junkanoos and the public to understand. And so I'm most grateful to him for his leadership throughout this entire process. So Junkanoo is on. I can report to the public that the Boxing Day parade is sold out. Matter of fact, it had sold out prior to last week, Saturday. And so that is something that we are most excited about, and it's a huge feat for us. There are still a lot of available seats for the New Year's Day parade, and we encourage all Bahamians that have not secured your tickets yet to go and secure your tickets at the New Year's Day parade if Boxing Day is unsuccessful. The groups are in the process of making their final preparations. We are some 2 weeks away, and our focus now is on ensuring that the parade is smooth, it is organized, and it is orderly. We have already met with our partners in the police to ensure that the public is safe. I know Commissioner and his team will be coming to the public in the near future to talk about that plan, but we're excited to get back to business. And we just look forward to an exciting parade. So I just want to thank all and sundry, our partners at the government, our partners with the NJC, the Junkanoo groups, for remaining steadfast and getting over this hurdle. And now it's time to get back to the shacks, make your final preparations, and we will see everyone on Bay Street. Time to go to Bay, guys. Just want to remind the public the Boxing Day parade starts at 9 p.m. 9 p.m., that's 9 p.m. sharp. And the New Year's Day parade starts at 2 a.m. Thank you.
I'm thinking there are some questions. I'll invite questions now from members of the media for either the minister or Chairman Miller.
When will the world famous Valley Boys receive their seed funding now that it's been decided?
None of the volleyball, the world famous volleyballs has been advised by this ministry that as long as this matters before the court, neither of them will receive any funding because we don't know who is the volleyboys. And that's the facts. That's what the court, that's why the matters before the court. So, and the government position remains as, when we look at the legal perspective in this matter, as long as the court matters there, we will not. But money doesn't rotten, and Junkanoo groups could tell you, even after these parades, they still have expense. So once that is finished, we will release the funding to whoever is the Valley Boys.
Just for clarity, the way forward, Valley Boys, which category will they be rushing? Will it be the F category? Will it be the category? I don't remember if that was said.
Well, I spoke earlier about the classification in which the responsibilities of the JCNP. The only person can classify a group as F is the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. And the way forward has not been classified as any classification. They are competing as an uncompetitive group.
Now you mentioned the matters before the courts. What does the way forward need to do to now be able to compete as a Category A group moving forward, or will that not be decided until this matter is resolved in court?
So like I stated, we had our initial meeting with the Way Forward last night. During that session, we advised them of the process. And so the hope is that early next year, they would make some application to become a member of the JCNP and then to go forward, if successful, register for the parades. The entire, our trust right now in regard to this issue is to kind of move forward. And that is the direction where we're trying to move this matter. That you know, if you can't come together as an organization to have a clean separation and to move forward. And so those things will take place early next year.
Based on your meetings with two factions of the group, do you think there's any room for resolution by the time we hit the next holiday season?
I don't know. Relationships are strange in that today you can be in love and tomorrow you're not in love with one another. And so I don't know what the future holds in regard to that for the group. The group will have to make that determination. Junkanoo is a very emotional thing. It's weird in that a lot of the average Bahamian or the average Joe Blow doesn't understand how much passion and dedication that we as Junkanoos have in Junkanoo. There's no pot of gold. We don't do this for any riches or any reward. It's something that is deep within us and is an emotional thing. It's my hope that over time that they can move past this particular matter. I think we as the public and outsiders in that issue does it give it a grave disservice by commenting on it and all of that. And so I think they will need some time to sort themselves out. If they can come together as men and women, that would be great. But if they can't, there's options as well. The JCNP has a huge tent. We are encompassed of all Junkanoo groups, and so whatever decision is made, we'll ensure that they are welcome with eyes wide open, and we will start from this process today. They will not be regarded as outsiders in that regard, and so we're going to make sure that the experience that they have as a non-competitive participant is just as rich, minus the competing part of it, with all of the other groups, and so they will be involved in those plans with the police and so forth going forward. We want to handle this issue with empathy. As I stated, there's a lot of emotions in this, and so our task as leaders is to try and ensure that despite where we are now, that everyone can participate and celebrate the culture as best as possible.
Now, Mr. Bullock, my question is, obviously we got to this point, but why did the government at this point in time decide to give that advice about having both group going as Category A, and it seemed like it was to some point relenting that the way forward group should be Category A?
I'm trying to understand your question, but
I'm just saying, like, why at that point, that was a question people have, why at this point in the game did the government decide to have, I guess, their advice from the AG about having both groups going in, and I guess it felt like to some people relenting that the way forward group should be Category A.
well, the AG is responsible for all government agencies. What the AG was doing was giving his legal advice to protect the government because the matter is before the court, and at the end of the day, he publicly put his advice and opinion out there, which is also his advice to the JCNP as it relates to the matter. It wasn't a demand to JCNP or the Junkanoo community that the government was indicating that a decision must be made from our perspective. We were giving our advice because at the end of the day, no matter what comes out of this court matter, either the government can be sued or the JCNP can be sued. So the government protects itself and it gives an opinion. How we are here today, we were always here. We always believed that for the greater good of the Bahamian people in Junkanoo, that we should come together and to an understanding and decision and how we should move forward for the greater good for Junkanoo. And while people think we just came here, we were always in discussion. We were always in discussion for months. And so we're here today, and we knew we would have gotten here, so we had no concern that Junkanoo would have taken place.
And then just to clarify, just to break the elephant in the room, many people feel like that decision or that stance government made originally is because the Way Forward Group leader Trevor Davis is also the brother of the PM. What do you make of those people feeling that nepotism played a part in that initial response?
In this country, all of us are related. It's so sad. They were brothers before he became the prime minister, and they were brothers all these times while Trevor Davis was rushing with the United Valley Boys. So the point that where he is now as a separated fraction from the Valley Boys or the prime minister being the prime minister has nothing to do with it. But that's how we think as Bahamians inside this country. We have to understand sometimes the prime minister did his great and his best to remain far away from this situation as possible and left it in the hands of the minister he appointed, which was myself. And even me didn't have the opportunity to speak because the public had their own opinion on the matter, and notice I remained quiet until the time is right to speak.
And then that press release that came out Sunday, were you aware of it? Because with the Tribune, the interview with Mr. Miller, it seemed like you were also caught off guard by that initial press release that came out this Sunday. Were you aware that that was the final, that outcome's going to happen?
The government is one body. Once the government speaks, we speaks.
But you knew about it. Did you not know that that was?
We are one body. Anything that comes with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, I'm quite aware of.
Mr. Miller, I know you cited political threat as an issue that no seem to want to postpone parades. Has that issue been rectified?
Yeah, so to be clear, there's never been any interference between the JCMP and the ministry. We have enjoyed a beautiful relationship for the past 20 years in the execution and management of the parade. There's no separation between our minister, myself, our teams, the JCNP and NJC in that regard. I think the issue arises when persons outside of our connection or outside of our bond start making public commentary, and this tends to lend to confusion. But as the minister stated, there is no separation. We have been meeting for many months to arrive at this very same point where we are. And so the arrival of this agreement did not take place because of any comments that I would have made over the weekend or anything in that regard. But this was in place for the various months. For our part, we're looking forward. We're not looking through the very window. We have a beautiful, as I stated, relationship with the government of the Bahamas. This would be our 20-year anniversary for us managing these parades, and that is our focus. And so there is no separation between the government and the JCNP or the NJC. The minister and I speak every day, and that's throughout the Junkanoo season or after the Junkanoo season. So the relationship remains one that is steadfast, built of respect and professionalism. Our focus now, as I said, is moving on. We're not looking backwards. And I encourage the media, the public as well, to move forward. This matter has caused the country so much turmoil because everyone loves Junkanoo and everyone has an opinion. I'll give an example of a lady who I spoke with the other day. She is a Valley, and like she would say she's a Valley gal, and then she born in the Centerville area. And so her whole entire family is Valley Boys. She has a daughter that is a choreographed dancer. She is performing with one fraction. She has a son who's a drummer, performing with another fraction. And so she will be on Bay Street cheering for both Valley Boys. And that is how this situation has impacted the households in this regard. But I think at this point, as the chairman of the JCMP, I want to make it clear that Junkanoo is bigger than the Valley Boys. And we have given this issue too much attention. We have several groups that are out there that is just as important as the Valley Boys. And I am not sure that had it not been for the Valley Boys, that we would be in this position. If it was Roots or someone else, the matter would not have gotten that attention, and we understand that. And so we need to give everyone respect in that regard and let this matter conclude itself, give them the privacy, the dignity to resolve this as men and women, and to not throw fuel on the fire. And so as the leader of this community, my job now is to move this community forward, to advance these parades, to advance Junkanoo, with partnership with the ministry, with our partners in NJC. And so our focus will not be on this individual situation as it relates to the Valley Boys, and we wish them the best in that. Like I said, certain elements of it is in court. The court will make a determination, but we are focusing now on in that regard, 2025, 2026, on ensuring that either they're together or even if they separated, that everything is registered in time so they can go and celebrate the matter. And so going forward after the day, from the JCMP standpoint, we won't be commenting on that internal issue any longer. And you know, it's taking too much of our time. We're 14 days out, and we want to ensure that the parade moves in a smooth and efficient manner. And so that is our focus right now in that regard. And so we're together. Christmas is not canceled. Everyone could rest assured. We look forward to seeing every single person on Bay Street celebrating, cheering for whatever your particular group is. It'll be an exciting parade. We will be starting on time. We're under strict orders to get the parade in and to celebrate. And so we are moving forward, united, and we're just looking forward to the future.
Can you clarify where will the way forward Valley Boys start from? There are some talk saying that they will start from Bay Street.
I just tell you we're moving forward, united. Becoming a contentious question. To answer that question, like I said, we met with the Way Forward last night and started a discussion with the Way Forward, and so they have been made aware in that regards. I won't publicly speak to where they will start, and there's no point in that. They know what will happen. The JCMP knows what will happen, and as the minister stated, the order entry will be observed, and us to not interrupt that. And you can expect to see the Way Forward make their entrance on the parade route. And so I won't get in any specifics as it relates to divisions and where they're starting. They have data being communicated to them. We're allowing them to communicate with their organization and in that regard. And so I won't speak directly to that. But just to say that we're unified in our position, that it is settled, and that we wish it's going to be an exciting parade.
Well, obviously the JCMP, as was mentioned by the Attorney General, said that you do not have the power to cancel a parade. What you do have the power to do is not show up. We've been speaking with some Junkanoos. They said that if this is the decision going forward, they're not going to participate in this year's parades. Have you heard that, and what has been your response to that?
What media house are you at? Devontae Anna, boy, you contentious. You know, the whole entire question of who owns Junkanoo and who has the authority, Junkanoo is for the Bahamian people. Everyone has a role to play. So the government, of course, has a role to play, and the government is a huge stakeholder, the number one financer in the parade. But Junkanoos as well play a huge role in the parade. So Junkanoo, from our standpoint, we put some $20 million into the parade. And so if there's no Junkanoo participants in the parade, then you can't have a parade. And so I won't comment on the AG's comment in that regard. I understood and understand his aspect of it as relates to ownership of the parade, but we are just as valuable as well too. And we won't allow that comment or to divide. So the only thing I could say to this comment is that we understand there are levels on to both sides of it. All sides are valuable, and we just focus on moving forward. This past couple of days was a good exercise for all of us. It taught us that there are some things that we need to clean up in regards to how we operate, to put some things in finer print, etc., which the minister has indicated to me that he wants to get started with as soon as possible. And so I won't focus on that contention. So as I stated, we're moving forward. The parades are fast coming. Those discussions in regards to agreements and stuff will take place behind closed doors. And we will ensure that the government as well as Junkanoos have a fair say and a fair deal. But we won't speak to that in the public.
Is it a concern that Junkanoos won't show up
As I just stated just now, the parade is on. Just last night, I was at the Roots Junkanoo practice. I will be visiting several practices tonight, and so we're on. We have already made the communication to our bodies, and so you don't have to question that if there will be parades. Parades will be on. And in addition to that, I just want to advise the public that the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, the NJC, the JCNP, we're partnering with the Ministry of Health, Health and Wellness, and so they will have a presence at all of these practices where they'll be doing free health screenings for all Junkanoos and all public. And so Tuesday nights, Genesis, they practice at the Sports Center. On Wednesday nights, Roots Junkanoo organization practices at the Sports Center as well. On Thursday night, we have the Valley Boys under the leadership of Brian Adley. They practice at the Sports Center. We have the Shell Sacks and Superstars that practice on the Fish Fry. We have the One Family that is on Nassau Street by the Old City Market parking lot, and Market Street, sorry. And I think the way forward is under the bridge. And so the Ministry of Health and Wellness, they will be at those different facilities conducting free health screenings for Junkanoos and for the public. And I encourage all of you to go and support these groups during their last their last Junkanoo practices. These are financial events where they have vendors and stalls and they're raising funds. So you can go and ensure there will be a safe environment. The police are aware of all of these events, so the presence from the police will be there. And go and support your group. They need you now. Like I said, right now it's time to hit bay. And so we are focused on moving forward in one direction.
Just to clarify, you said the parade starts around 9, but when should we expect the results to come out? Because I know the parade is at 9:12.
Yeah, so again, we anticipate around 11:30 the parades, the results, will be ready as well. What delays those results is we have 2 sets of independent auditors from parade end until those are called that needs to run the numbers and do what they need to do. And so we anticipate that it will be around 11:30 again. That will go live as well, and we will get the parade results out as quick as possible.
So, Ms. Miller, now that we've reached this point, we know that the Prime Minister didn't have any political interference with the situation. Will you or have you already apologized to the Prime Minister for your comments?
Another contentious question. Boy, give him a prize today. So the PMI and I and the Minister would have had private conversations throughout the weekend, and those conversations will remain private. I can assure the Bahamian public that all is well. And anything that would have been said was not for political reasons. The JCNP has never been a political body. We don't discuss politics on our watch. We are always in a position where we work with F&M, PLP, DNA, COI, I don't know, ABC, whatever it is. And so we don't discuss politics at the JCNP level. I'm sure that the JCNP and naturally in Junkanoo is comprised of Bahamians who have their political aspirations and their different political leanings. But we have enough problems, Rowan, Saxons, Valley, One Family, Genesis, Roots, to get into F&M, PLP business. And so I made some comments. Again, what was spoken in private will remain private. My focus now is representing these groups, as the minister job is to represent the government and the people of Garden Hills. So we know where we take our orders from, and so we just keep marching on, okay?
The way forward Valley Boys would have been preparing to participate as a Category A group. Does it now mean it has to scale down, choreograph dancers, banners, music, that sort of thing?
We don't dictate how any group get ready to compete, and so that is completely up to them. Junkanoo is a very, very expensive feat, and so we are mindful of that. And as I said, we're going to make sure that the participation level and comfort that they receive will be first class as well. But Junkanoo and economics simply just don't make sense at this time. We're continuing to work with government on trying to find ways in which we could raise funds and resources, precious resources, and so we understand the name. And so I anticipate that they will have a full group. The public will be their judge ultimately. People have social media and they will go and say how they feel the parade went and who won and who looked good and all of this in this regard. And so we anticipate that will happen. I think the important thing in that regard is to let their members know that despite where we are now, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And as I said, at the JCMP, we're an open tent. And we look forward to welcome all Junkanoos with arms wide open. And so I won't focus on the fact that they can't compete for a prize or anything in that regard, because that's difficult, right? And we're empathetic to that ability. And so we just want to move forward. Again, put this vaccine issue behind us and give the Bahamian people a good show, which they deserve.
Minister Bullock, now that this is done, I know when we spoke to you several times on behalf, you just wanted the groups to move on, get it over with. When you reach this point, how relieved are you to have us given the fact that, this is ripped apart, one of our most historic groups on Bay Street. It has split fans apart. Then, as Mr. Miller said, a lot of turmoil. What's the mood heading into the parade right now?
If you see me next week, my hair may be darker than it is now. That will be the relief. But let me say something back to the point of the Prime Minister, because I want to make it publicly clear, and then I'll answer you. The Prime Minister never intervened in this. And the problem we had with the public perception is if I made a decision, the people would have said, the Prime Minister tell me make the decision. All right? The Prime Minister has confidence in all of his ministers to make a decision that they think is best for the country. And he always advises us, I put you there because I believe you have the ability to lead a ministry and make a decision what is the best choice for the Bahamian people. And any decision that we would have made, the perception would appear to have been so. But I want the Bahamian people to realize there was no need for him to get involved in this. And he understood that it is his brother. And if he did, he knew what backslash he would have get. So he had no reason to get involved in this, and he left it all up to me. So any decision that is made, the Bahamian people, you could blame me. I am the minister responsible for culture the last time I checked. But I'm very relieved that this matter has come to an end. Again, I didn't think at any given time we would not have come to this point. We had many, many successful meetings. I think the public got a little antsy and was trying to figure out what's happening. And then there was some, I call them bad apples in the Junkanoo community, continue to send out stuff on social media to always try and put some negative connotations out there that made the perception of the public that there is something negatively going on between the JCNP and the ministry or the NJC or any of the two fractions of the Valley Boys. And I think that's where we went wrong. And I always say this to people, and while I have the opportunity to say this in the mic, Bahamians have to ask what's the facts and stop allowing social media to guide our decision and our thought process. And jumping on social media once something is negative and just riding that wave. And that makes us what I call a dumb grow country. We aren't able to move and be successful in the country when we allow social media to guide our thoughts and our minds. We should first think and ask the question. And I always say this to them, if you know not the character of the individual, please don't have anything to say once it's negative, because if you don't know that person, you don't know anything of them. Many people believe they know Dion as the chairman or they know me as the minister, that they know me. Not because your name is in my phone means me and you are friends or you know me. You understand me? So those who know the character will comfortably believe what is said and done, if that's you or not. And that's all we ride on. And I thank God for the patience he's given me. I tell you, being in politics has taught me a lot. And I want the Bahamian people to understand whatever we do at this very present moment is for the greater good, for the Bahamian people. And I want all Bahamians walks of life to be on Bay Street on Boxing Day and New Year's Day and come enjoy the greatest show on earth by all Junkanoo groups who will be there in living color.
Minister, one last question. We know this is cultural month for December, and I think that Junkanoo and the Youth is going to be happening on December 21st. Yeah. Could you touch on, like how you were hearing about the importance of Bahamians, because this is a national events that are happening this month?
I think Bahamians should pay attention to all of the Junkanoo groups, not the Junkanoo groups, Junkanoo parades that will take place on the Family Islands. And I think the Nasuvians should take the opportunity, once these parades are announced, to go to the islands and watch the parades. I tell you, I'm very, very much in love with the parade in Exuma. I know what I'm going for the first time to Lutra this year on the 21st, and I can tell you, with the parade date change for Grand Bahama from the 1st to the 9th, which means me and other Junkanoos don't have to leave Bay Street and run straight on the plane and go to Grand Bahama. We expect Grand Bahama to be off the chain come the eve of Majority Rule Day. And I expect a lot of Nassauvians to be there because we're going to make that weekend as a festival, as a regattas type festival where we have concerts, the Junkanoo Parade, and live Bahamian music playing. And we want Bahamian to come and enjoy that weekend in Grand Bahama because I expect some members of the various groups here will join up with some of the groups in Grand Bahama and make Junkanoo Day even greater than it was ever there before. And so I'm excited about all of the dates of the Junkanoo parades that will take place not just in December, but throughout the rest of the year. We good? Media, I love you all.
That's a non-related question about the stadium and the readiness ahead of, what is it, Popeye Bowl or something like that?
Yeah.
Because last time I checked, the roof was off. Will that be finished in time?
Yeah, the stadium will be ready. The only one side of the stadium will be utilized during the bowl, and that's the eastern side, where all of the fans will sit, because when the game is recorded live on ESPN and all of those, the cameras will be facing the eastern side, so we're not too concerned about the western side. We will have that little covered, but the stadium will be ready. Good? Thank you all.
I know Junkanoo is resolved, but give me 2 minutes, please. Thank you very much, Minister Boleg and JCNP and JC. Thank you so much for being here, and we are all happy and very relieved to hear this news that the show will go on as planned. Christmas is not canceled. Thanks again, gentlemen. Just one quick announcement for me here from the office. Just wanted to update you that the transition of the Office of Commissioner of Police is now underway. Chantanos, who has oversight of the Northern District, as you know, and is stationed in Grand Bahama, is winding up her affairs there. And of course, as the handover ceremony is planned, an announcement of the date will be made in the days ahead. I also want to add to that the Prime Minister and Minister of National Security are planned to schedule a meeting come next week with the Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, along with his senior executives. Of course, this was indicated earlier as part of the overview and assessment of the force in light of that indictment that was announced a few days ago, which unfortunately involved a member of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. So that meeting is set to take place next week, and we will hear some of the outcomes of that in the days ahead. Is there anything else?
Is the handover likely to happen this year?
I don't want to comment on that. Again, that date will be announced soon. I won't speculate on the timing.
Has the government heard back from the diplomatic note on the U.S. indictment?
No, the Prime Minister has indicated that the discussions continue on that matter, and he will update as he is updated.
Also, big more contention for the Free National Movement yesterday in the press conference was just the conduct of the Speaker. Has the Prime Minister spoken with the Speaker of the House in terms of these accusations that she is biased, in some instances being coerced, or coached, I should say, by leaders of the government?
I'm not aware of any communication in that regard between the Prime Minister and the Speaker, but the conduct of the House of Assembly is within the purview of the Speaker of the House, and I will leave that there. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again.